Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you so much for sharing life with us. I listen to many people today, and they really like to talk bad about the church. I love Jesus, I just hate the church. And everybody goes, yeah, and everybody thinks it's very funny, and they're not committed to a local body. I watch many Christians today that transfer churches more often than they change their underwear, if that was possible. And you look around and you realize none of this is spiritually healthy for anybody. In 1 Corinthians 12, beginning with verse 12, Paul said, "The body is a unit, and though it is made up of many parts, and though all parts are many, they form one body, and so it is with Christ. For we are all baptized by one Spirit into one body, whether Jews or Greeks, slave or free, and we are all given the one Spirit to drink. Now the body is not made up of one part, but many. And if the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I don't belong to the body, it would not for that reason cease to be a part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason cease to be a part of the body. And if the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be?" And Paul continues in the same vein here for a while. Let me put to you a thought. Can people really just decide to leave a local church? Every local church is the body of Christ. Can people just up and decide? Many times I've taught you that we belong to a church because Jesus joined us to that body. Jesus came and joined us to that particular body. He took our talents and abilities and He made us a part of the body, and He chose the part of the body that we would be. Now, can we just decide to leave that body and think that we're going to join ourselves to another body? I don't think so. Why do people leave churches? Oh, the reasons are myriad. Now, there's a lot of smoke about why they leave, but the truth of why people leave is usually pretty simple. They've gotten in sin and they don't want people to know about it. They want to go act all holy someplace else. Number two, their children got into sin and they want to go and act like nothing's ever been wrong and go someplace else and have a fresh start. Number three, they got their feelings hurt by somebody or something in the church. A big one is they get mad at people like me. They get mad at pastors because the pastor confronted them about something in their life from the scriptures and said it shouldn't be. Now, admittedly, there are times when Jesus really says, no, you really don't belong there, you belong over here. And you got in the wrong place to begin with. But most of the time, it's just people who want to move around because they're shopping for some place that will tolerate the lifestyle that they want to live rather than conform to what the Bible has to say. Now, I know I'm going to make a lot of people mad with this, but so be it. But I want you to just put on your coconut shell, to speak in 1980 terms for a minute, and just think for a moment. Can my hand just detach itself and go and join itself to Brother Jong's body, who's taping the camera right now? He would look like a freak, and I would be incapacitated. When people just leave churches because they got their feelings hurt, or they got in sin, or they didn't want to work through their relationship issues, or they didn't want to work through their attitudes, or whatever. When people just leave a church that God joined them to and go someplace else, first of all, that church can never really utilize them because they already have people performing those functions. And number two, the church they left, forgive me, is going to be crippled without them. Now, we like to act as if, oh, that doesn't happen, but it really does happen. If I chop my hand off, I'm going to miss my hand. If I chop my finger off, I'm going to miss my finger. Until one day God comes and puts another finger to fulfill that place. Now, I want to challenge you today. Work through your problems. Work through your embarrassments. Work through your issues. I had a man just come to me right after I got back the other day from vacation, and he wanted to transfer to our church, and I said, well, where are you from? And he told me, and I said, well, why are you leaving your church? And I know the pastor. The pastor's a good man. And I said, well, why are you leaving? And he said, well, the pastor did it. I said, no, I know your pastor. He's a good man. I said, why don't you just go sit down and work it out? And maybe you just need to go to the prayer room and work through your attitude a little bit, because your pastor's a good man. He's not a perfect man. There's no perfect preachers. I said, why don't you just work it out? Because I said, you know, you're needed there. You're part of the body there. Now, I want to challenge you today. Some of you, you're sitting in churches that you don't belong. Forgive me. I mean, you're sitting in churches you don't belong in. Maybe you're in COP and you don't belong here. You're sitting in churches you don't belong. And the church where you do belong is suffering. Some of you, you're sitting there in those churches and you don't belong. You never get involved. There's nothing for you to do. You really don't fit. And if you're honest in your heart, you know you don't fit. All right, go back. Face the problems of the past. Work through your issues. That's what Christianity is all about. Work through your issues and get back where you belong. Stop all this running around someplace trying to find out where you belong when you already know where you belong.